Reflecting on Teaching and Learning. Domain 4A, this is part 3 of 3. And teachers need a specific alternate action after a lesson to complete with probable success of each course of action for how the lesson could be improved. This entire domain is focusing on reflecting on instructional practice, but part of that reflection piece is also the organization of those reflections. How are you going to keep it all together when you're teaching lesson after lesson after lesson? Then we're going to tap into Google Spreadsheets, and that specifically we're going to look at the sharing on Google Spreadsheets. Now, Google Spreadsheets are part of Google Drive, which used to be called Google Documents. So don't be confused. It is now called Google Drive. And the key part of Drive is that no matter what device you're on, as long as you can get to the internet, log into your Gmail account, your documents are stored in the cloud, which is called Google Drive. So regardless of your device, your documents are there. It doesn't matter if you're on a Mac or a PC, all your documents are in Google Drive. To get there, you go to Google, log in the upper right-hand corner with your Gmail account, and then go across the black bar to Drive. When you get there, it will look something like this if you have documents in it, and there are all different types of documents that you can make. This is kind of your landing page for Google Drive. You can upload files. So let's say you already have a spreadsheet that you've been using for reflection. You can go ahead and upload that right into Google Drive. So if it's already existing, don't worry. You can go ahead and put it in Google Drive. You have lots of options. Today we're just going to be looking at the spreadsheet piece. Another video is on forms, which ties to spreadsheets. Gets a little confusing, so we'll wait for later on that one. This is an example of a spreadsheet that I used with my students, and it is a spreadsheet just like every other spreadsheet that you can go ahead and put in your data. But your key is you are reflecting on your instructional practice. You've got to organize all this stuff. You need dates. You need what was the lesson. And specifically in this module, we want to focus about alternate actions. Let's say the lesson just didn't go well. We all know that happens sometimes, but what would you change? That's what a distinguished teacher is constantly in that reflective mode of how could I improve this? But you need a place, a container to put those reflections. So when you come back to the lesson maybe next year, you'll be able to say, oh yes, this didn't work that well. Let's try something else. So that's why we need the spreadsheet. Now, before starting from scratch, there's also templates that you can go ahead and access. Take a few minutes to check out the templates, and that way you can find out if somebody's already kind of created something that you can modify. All of the Google documents in Google Drive can be modified. Here are just a couple of examples. I'm in the student and teacher section right now. Sharing. This is essential. When we're talking about teacher evaluation, reflection, practice, who are you sharing that information with? That's the big part of this domain. Is it's not just you doing reflection by yourself, but it's also about how are you collaborating, how are you talking, how are you sharing. So you can share what each document can be shared with a different group. So you can share this with a supervisor, with other people in your department, and that way that becomes your reflective document. So you can have everything in one place. You can share by giving the big old address up there in the blue, but you can give that to somebody else through an email if you want, or you don't want anybody to ever type that in. So if you can share links with somebody, you can go ahead and do that, or you can put at the bottom, you can go ahead and add people through email. Very important, if you want somebody else to be able to edit the document, you have to give them permission. And that's what the whole middle section is. Who has access to it? First of all, if it's your personal reflection about your lessons, maybe you don't want it public on the web. Another option is just for the people that share it. I think I would pick that for this application. And then you can choose if they can edit it or not. Now, there's lots of things you can do, but you can always download it in whatever file format you need. So for example, if you need to turn your lesson plans in a spreadsheet format, you can go ahead and save in whatever format that you need. Look in the upper right hand corner. Another option is that's how you share, but another option is also comments. So you can go ahead and comment back and forth to each other. So there's so much you can do with this, but stay focused on the domain. In the practice that you're getting yourself into is recording after a lesson what were the alternate courses of action that you would go ahead and use. The spreadsheet is your container to keep all your reflections so everything is in the same place. Thanks.